Hi guys, I'm going to start recording shift live thoughts, but even that's a bad description. It's not thinking, it's allowing. Thinking is the trap. This whole Great Awakening thing, it implies we are asleep, and that implies some sort of superiority on the part of the person claiming that others are asleep. It's the whole spiritual hierarchy trap. I know something you don't. What I've got to say is different. I don't know anything you don't. And I actually don't know anything, because knowing is also the trap. Because how we've been conditioned, how the human mind has been conditioned, is to operate in the world via a construct of beliefs. So the body is how we experience 3D reality. We feel the world through the body. The body is a receiver, it's both a receiver and a transmitter. So we receive all the information through the eyes, ears, through the five senses. We know this, we understand this. The body is the touch point between who we really are, i.e. our higher self, our soul, our spirit, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, source, energy, oneness. The body is the touch point between I and 3D reality. And there's nothing crazy about this. There's nothing out there or left field or woo-woo about this. We can only experience less than 1%, and it's actually, I believe, it's less than 3% of 1%, or it's something like 3.5% of 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum we can perceive. It's less than 1%. So the world, the reality, the 3D reality that we call the world of the five senses, five sense reality, the part of it that we can experience through our five senses is less than 1% of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. So there's all these energies that we are completely blind to, and they're all around us. And Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Everything is energy. Everything is light vibrating on a different frequency. So the periodic table of elements is just light vibrating in different patterns on different frequencies. It's just light and sound. It's just vibration. It's just energy. But then we interpret the energy through the human body. We interpret some energy as, oh, this is solid. This is a piece of wood. This is light vibrating at a certain frequency. That it grows into a tree, and then we cut it up into wood. But at its core, it's the same energy as the air. It's the same energy, it's just vibrating in different patterns at different frequencies. So we are blind in 3D reality. The world that we call reality is just, as Donald Hoffman calls it, it's a headset. It's just it's a very basic lens through which we view the world. So this is why this idea of awakening, all we're actually doing is, it's not like we have to, it's completely backwards to what we naturally associate it might be. It's not that we have to go and gather information and pick up pieces of the jigsaw and put it all together and learn something and go on this journey and accumulate knowledge and wisdom, and it's the complete opposite of that. Because the idea of awakening is awakening to our true nature, awakening to our true potential, but really just awakening to truth. And this is where we've been this is where we've got it completely wrong, is we value beliefs over truth. We build our entire sense of self, our entire character, the differentiator between you and me and that person over there and that person over there is the character. Okay, the bodies are different. The bodies express the character. And we all look different. We've all got different features and characteristics. It's all about the character. And we recognize this. We recognize that a character is not real. We understand this in film and stage. We understand that character means acting. And our character is built on beliefs. And all characters do is take us away from truth. Because truth is what's left behind when all the beliefs are gone. If you stripped away all of your beliefs, you would experience the world exactly the same as you do now, but you wouldn't have any preconceived ideas about what it was. You would just have a pure, unfiltered stream of reality through your five senses. But what you wouldn't be doing is then, in your mind, attaching stories to the experience based on your beliefs. So every time, and this plays out, it plays out with people. So we think we know people. We see someone, and because our very sense of self is built up from an illusion, i.e., when I say it's an illusion, it's a set of beliefs. It's just a construct, and I'll come on to why beliefs are just a construct. They only exist in the mind. They're just a set of limitations. They're just a lens or a prism or a prison. The prison of the mind, the prism of the mind. Because our own sense of self is made up of beliefs, we experience the world through our own sense of self. So, what we believe is possible is based on our own sense of self. So if we don't believe we can do something, we can't do it. Because or rather, if we fully don't believe we can do something, we will prove ourselves right every single time, because we've already formed the belief. I'm not one of those people who. And just before I circle into beliefs, this is the simplest way and the most powerful way to begin to identify your own beliefs, your own limiting beliefs, your own constraints of character, and it's just a character, is to pay attention to your own self-talk and the self-talk of others, and you'll find it easy to notice it in others before you notice it in yourself. Just start to pay attention to every time you hear someone say, I'm not one of those people who, or I've never been someone who, or I'm no good at. These type of ideas. When people say that, they're reaffirming a piece of their character, a storyline in their character. And there's hundreds of these beliefs. And ultimately what they are is limitations. They're trying to put a construct around truth, which is you are awareness, you are consciousness, you are truth. But the character then starts putting this construct around it, made up of beliefs, and every single belief is limiting. And the reason every single belief is limiting is because it has a dimension to it. That's what makes it a belief. It's fixed. It has boundaries. It has limitations. I can't do this. I tried this once, but I'm no good at it. I'm no good at maths. I'm not a numbers person. And these ideas, and I'm calling them ideas because all beliefs are just ideas. These ideas, they're only real by our insistence on retelling them every single day. Because this is what we do. We carry around in our subconscious mind, we carry around hundreds, thousands, millions, who knows, of these beliefs. And we put them all together and they exist in our subconscious. And they're playing out all day, every day, throughout the day. They're like a record that's just playing on repeat. But because it's in our subconscious, we're not aware of it. We're not consciously aware of it. For 95 to 99% of our day, and I actually think it's more like 99.99999% of our day, I actually think we are unconscious until we're not. But for 95, and this is agreed upon by modern neuroscience. This isn't a woo-woo concept. This is how the brain operates, and it makes sense how it has to operate this way. For 95 to 99% of our day, we are operating on our subconscious mind. And what that means is we're just accessing a program that already exists. There's no conscious thinking required, there's no conscious decision making required, and there's no conscious creation. It's just playing an old program. And that's why, and that's okay, that makes sense. The subconscious is very efficient, because right now I'm driving and I'm talking and I don't remember the last 10 minutes of the journey, really, because my subconscious is driving, because I've learned to drive and I've stored driving into my subconscious, and I know to look at the road ahead and check the mirrors and check the speed and scan the horizon and all of these little things, check the mirrors, check the speed. It's all going on over and over again. It doesn't require any conscious thought. It doesn't require any conscious decision making. My foot will automatically lift off the pedal. It'll automatically hover over the brake. This is all happening without the need for our conscious awareness. And when we start to break down our day, from the moment we wake up, the very first decision of the day for most people is already made. We probably do the same thing every day. And for most people, the very first decision of the day is, my alarm goes off, what do I do? Do I get up or do I press snooze? That's the first decision of the day. And the chances are, if you press snooze, you probably press snooze all the time. And I'm going to do a separate one of these about snoozing, because snoozing is the most destructive, one of the most destructive habits there is. And I'm going to explain why. So bringing it back around to beliefs. All beliefs. So what we're exploring here is this concept that your very sense of self, your very self-identity is made up of beliefs, and they're not real. Or rather, the only place they're real is in your mind. That's the only place they exist. And no one else knows your own collection, your own personal, unique combination of beliefs. And in fact, you don't know them until you start to explore them consciously, because they're stored in your subconscious. And they don't like to be challenged. They have a defense mechanism in place which stops them from being challenged and which maintains the integrity of your beliefs. And this is why when people say, I feel stuck, well, you are stuck. You're stuck in your own belief system, which isn't you, and you can change it at any time, but you've just never been shown how to. And the first step is in realizing you are not your beliefs. And the reason, and this is where the whole thing kind of falls apart, i.e. your beliefs, the integrity of your beliefs, i.e. the structural integrity, the firmness, the solidity of your beliefs. It falls apart, but then paradoxically, this is why you cling so tightly to your beliefs and defend them. Some people would die for their beliefs. Is because on some level we realize that our beliefs are on such shaky foundation, and they are just a construct. On some deep level we realize this, we must do, and because there's this real terror, and the late great Bob Proctor called it the terror barrier. There's a terror that we experience when we are approaching the boundaries of our sense of self. And this isn't just about expanding your comfort zone and trying things you haven't tried before. This is about having your very beliefs about reality challenged. And it feels terrifying, because what it means you're doing is, or what it requires you to do, is to let go of your grip on reality. Because your grip on reality is your beliefs about yourself. Because you, the self, you experience reality through your beliefs. And I'm just going to explain that concept briefly, that we experience reality through our beliefs. And by extension, we experience the reality that we believe exists. And the reason how that can be demonstrated is our brain looks out for information which aligns with or supports our beliefs, and it disregards or filters out information which challenges our beliefs. So when we have a construct of beliefs within our mind, this is how the world is. So take the example of women are bad drivers. Women can't park cars. And then you stand in a supermarket car park, and if you stand there for 10 minutes, you're going to see loads of examples, loads of evidence that backs up your belief that women can't park cars. But what you're also going to do is you're going to naturally not notice as much all the examples of women parking cars perfectly fine, or men that aren't able to park cars. And you'll probably notice men that are able to park cars. And this is just how the brain works. It's called the reticular activating system. And basically what it's doing is it's seeing what it believes to be there. It's looking out for what it believes it will find. So and then this then feeds into the idea of quantum physics, that we actually create the reality we experience as we go along. So whilst our beliefs are built on sand, they are also paradoxically locked in, because if we let go of one of them, if we challenge one of them, it then opens the idea to challenging all of them, and then it is our actual self-identity, because we've been laboring under the assumption that I am my beliefs. We falsely, I don't know whether we've been societally conditioned to value beliefs over truth, but we certainly understand the world through beliefs. And beliefs are just ideas, and here's why they're just ideas. When we get presented with a new idea, we recognize it for what it is. It's new to us. It's a new piece of information. It's a new concept. It sparks the creative part of us. We experience it as inspiration. It feels exciting. It feels like we're learning something new. But it's just an idea. Until, with enough repetition and enough emotion, we internalize it as a belief. And it can either be through inspiration or it can be through fear. And I think most beliefs, when I started, let's reflect on this. Where do we get most of our beliefs? Well, we were given a belief structure through education. And the way education works is, so we believe we know history, we believe we know geography, we believe we know science, we believe we have a construct of reality which was taught to us at school through repetition and emotion. And that's how, so we were given these ideas over and over and over again, and then we had to repeat them back. And if we repeated them back, we got a gold star. The person who repeated the information back the best got the most gold stars and was the best student. And so when I say repetition and emotion, there's two things going on. I'm talking about fear as turning ideas into beliefs. The entire exam process is a traumatic process. It's really, it's fear-based. It's fear of failure. It's being graded based on our ability to repeat back the information we've been given. And then it's a sense of jubilation and relief when we get told how well we've repeated back the information. We get graded. And the idea is then, at that point, we invest our, if we get good grades, we invest our self-identity into the good grades and the beliefs which gave us the good grades. So we deeply internalize through repetition and emotion, fear and joy, those ideas become beliefs. But we don't actually know. And then as we get through life, as we start to explore things for ourselves, we realize that actually a lot of the things we were taught might not be truth. But we've been holding them as beliefs, and we've been defending them as beliefs because we invested so much of our self-identity into them. So beliefs are just ideas. Your very sense of self-identity is wrapped up in your own beliefs. It feels terrifying because the question is, and as a mindset coach, I've been through this with hundreds of my clients in the coaching space, and the fear, I call it the fear of the void, because what happens when we really start to observe our own beliefs and they start to kind of fall apart in front of our eyes, it becomes very terrifying. And the fear of the void is the fear of, well, if I'm not who I thought I was, who am I? And the answer to that is you are pure awareness. You are a conscious creator. And here's the thing. When your construct of self, when the character falls away, and this is what the fear of the void is, it's the fear of who do I become if I lose my sense of self, and we cling on to our sense of self. Well, nothing changes. You still experience the world through your five senses. You're just now not experiencing it through your old lens of beliefs of the old character. So everything's the same, but you're not trying to force what you see through what you believe exists, which is pure liberation, but it's terrifying. It's terrifying, and that's the terror barrier. But on the other side of the terror barrier is liberation. I recommend watching Bob Proctor on YouTube. He has some amazing material about paradigms and the terror barrier. And paradigms are kind of what I've described today. Our paradigm is our own personal collection of limitations, limiting beliefs. The lens through which we view the world is the paradigm. And it has its own inbuilt defense mechanism, and it's fear. And we'll get onto that in another download. Thanks for listening, guys. I'd love to hear your comments on this. That was just a pure download from source. Really very little thinking. I'm really leaning into this truth that thinking is the trap. I hit a ceiling of thinking. My mentor 1 or 2 weeks ago said to me, you're done with thinking. You've hit the thinking ceiling. There is no more thinking. And that was a real shift. And every time I notice myself, or every time I notice the old thought patterns arising, I'm getting more and more able to just not grab the thread. Just let the thread blow in the wind, and it's beautiful and it's peaceful. Thanks for listening, guys. I'd love to hear your comments, and let me know what you want me to talk about in future videos. Have a great day. I love you all. Peace.